been working here in this building now for about 15 years, seen in excess of 10,000 families, and the outcomes that we're looking for are high quality sleep for the children. We want to give a mother her joy in parenting, get a life balance back for every member of the family. And I sometimes say to mothers, I don't look after children, I look after families.
I sought the baby sleep doctor's help when I had my first child, and he was about 9 or 10 weeks, and he wasn't sleeping and he wasn't doing anything, and I was desperate.
On the Sunday night, I called my husband in at 3 in the morning, and I was hysterical, and I just said, you have to take her because I'm going to shake her. I was just losing it, and he was like, whoa, you really have lost it.
You're not crazy, because I did the same thing.
You just can't help it. Sleep deprivation makes you absolutely nuts.
We divide the strategy into two groups. There's problem avoidance and problem resolution, which will improve the child's feeding, their sleeping, their growth velocity. And if they're sleeping well and feeding well, they just don't have a reason to protest or to cry. And our babies cry very, very little in those first 12 weeks.
I had to give Max formula from 4 weeks. I didn't have a choice. I didn't have enough milk. I wasn't producing enough milk. I was stressed. I was anxious. I was beside myself. So I would sit there and I would put him, feed for an hour, and my nipples were just about to fall off of my body, and I was in tears.
I was plugging that much medication into her.
Same.
I mean, she was only 4 weeks old, and then James was like, why are you worried about formula? You're literally giving her a cocktail every night.
True.
You might as well just try it.
Give her formula's food, so
yeah,
at least
I know, and he's like, just feed the poor thing. And I was like, well, because I think too, I was so anxious and so she'd gotten into that horrible cycle of, sleep for 45 minutes.
Yeah. And then you just work on a level of fear.
The case that I have the clearest memory of in the last few years is an extreme case where the woman was suicidal at the first visit. She'd had 4 months of difficult sleep. Her child hadn't slept more than 20 to 30 minutes in a block in 4 months. And she was beyond anxiety, beyond depression. And she clearly articulated that she was planning her own suicide. For the first time ever in my life, I kept her in the surgery here for 3 hours and got the baby to sleep here in my company. The little guy took to the strategy beautifully, and within a week he was sleeping all night. And she came back and she went from being actively suicidal to a point where she just adored being a mum, being a wife, being a woman, and it was turned around dramatically. It was a stunning experience for me as a GP.
There's no harm in going to see Brian and saying, what is my opinion of this?
Yeah.
There's no harm. I know that, a lot of reviews say a lot of things. I know that people sort of think perhaps he's like this. But, all our experiences have been very much the exact opposite. He's very calming, he's very reassuring. I went, if you can take my child that you've never seen, ever, and you can do something that miraculous that I haven't been able to achieve in 9 weeks, then I trust you implicitly.
The overtired child is not having a good time in their own life, and they're not interacting with the world correctly. They're not computing how to deal with their world in a way which is appropriate and logical and rational. You get their sleep improved, and suddenly they interact with the world in a far more logical and rational way. And it amazes me how consistently we find that.
If you go to see him before the baby's born and you understand it, and then you actually avoid having to do control crying. Control crying is the fix, whereas anything that any crying, this one doesn't cry.
Well, he has no reason, because you're like, you've woken up. Oh, I should probably feed you. There's no reason for him to cry, because he's like, I know mum's going to feed me, and I know mum's going to feed me properly.
For me, I want to pay it forward, and I want to scream from the rooftops and say to all those mummies, I just want to run around those wards and say, listen, you're going to need this card. Take that. Let's not tell anyone. Just go and have a look, because this man is going to make you a happy mummy.
The care that we're giving gives a mother confidence in herself, it gives her success, and she can experience success very quickly. It gives her time for her husband, so that relationship, which is the fundamental building block of the family unit, is attended to and nourished. Other children in the family get an appropriate volume of time with their mum, and they get time with their mother when their mother's not tired anymore. So our outcomes are to strengthen family units, to see the family unit flourish, to find a family where it's a nice place for the mother to exist, and it's a wonderful place for the father to come home to at the end of the day.
Because we all have very similar stories, and I think, you know, if you put 100 or 200 or 300 of Brian's patients here, we would all say the same thing. Mm-hmm. Our before stories might be slightly different, but our after stories are all exactly the same.